Hey guys, this is Alfred back with another video, and in today's video I just want to talk about freeze and everything you need to know about how to play freeze teams in Genshin Impact. So this video is mostly for newer players who want to try playing freeze teams. Veteran players have experienced a freeze meta before, but you can also learn something new from this video. Hopefully I'll be covering all the tips and tricks that you need to know in order to start playing freeze. So with all that said, let's begin with this video. First of all, I want to talk about basically what is the general plan for a freeze team. So as the title implies, you want to be freezing your opponents as much as possible so that you're able to do as much damage while not taking damage at all. So to do this, you need two elements. You need Hydro and Cryo. This will be the main two elements you're going to be building around for your team. Generally speaking, you can also run Geo and a Nemo in your teams, but try not to run the other reactive elements, Pyro, Electro, and Dendro. You don't want to interrupt your freeze because the moment they move is the moment they can attack you. So for Geo itself, you can run Geo for the Geo Shred. Let's say you want to play Zhongli, and you can also run them for shielding. However, because they're mostly frozen, you're not going to be taking damage most of the time, which is the main reason why I wouldn't really recommend running Geo. But you can also still run Geo, let's say when a boss has Geo resistance or has a very big shield and you want to take down the shield as fast as possible, you can technically tech in Geo in your team comp. Anime was also a very good element to add, mainly for grouping. So you're going to be running characters like Venti and Kazuha for grouping, and you can also apply the Swirl and Viridescent Venerer, which is very strong for freeze teams. The main two elements will be Hydro and Cryo, followed by an optional Nemo and Geo whenever it is possible to play them. Now, there are two types of freeze teams. There is the Cryo freeze team where the Cryo is the main DPS, and there is also the Hydro freeze team where the Hydro is the main DPS. So both teams are fantastic. Most of the time, a Cryo main DPS team will do better. This is because the Hydro sub DPS and the Hydro off fields are just so much better than the Cryo off fields, but that's not to say Hydro is really bad. Hydro is also really decent, but I require a little bit more nuances. So let's first talk about Cryo main DPS teams. So for Cryo freeze teams, generally speaking, very easy to run because Hydro has a lot of good off fields. I'm going to be talking about the three main DPS for Cryo freeze. The first one is going to be Ayaka. She is the most beginner friendly freeze character in the game, and in my opinion, she will do a lot of damage very easily in a very short period of time. But because she is very burst reliant, you want to generally bring in Cryo battery for her so that she will be able to have a very strong uptime on her ultimate. The other DPS you can consider is Ganyu. Arguably, Ganyu can actually out DPS Ayaka as long as you consistently hit the headshots, which should not be a problem since the character is frozen. So she is a little bit more skill reliant, but overall her damage is still pretty similar to Ayaka. And the best part about Ganyu as well is you don't require your ultimate or your skill as much as Ayaka, so your damage will be more consistent than Ayaka. And the last character I'm going to talk about for the Cryo main DPS is going to be Ryo. Ryo, in my opinion, you really need Constellation 1 in order to rival Ayaka's and Ganyu's damage, but with Constellation 1 and even at Constellation 0, you'll still be doing a decent amount of damage. As long as they're frozen, you will be doing a lot of damage, so that should not be a problem. For your Cryo main DPS and even your Cryo sub DPS, honestly, you should be looking to run the Blizzard Strayer set as well. This set just gives you a bunch of crit rate, which is very fantastic, meaning you can focus more on your crit damage, and this will make your artifact building so much better. So for your Cryo main DPS teams, you generally want to be pairing them with strong Hydro off fields. The best off field in the game right now, hands down, is going to be Furina. Furina gives a lot of off field Hydro application, which is fantastic for a Cryo freeze team, and on top of that, she also provides a lot of damage for your Cryo characters, which is very good. Now for Ryo and Ayaka, I would recommend you also try out Yelan and Xingqiu. These two characters, because they're going to be attacking a lot, Yelan and Xingqiu will provide a lot of Hydro application as well. You can run either or you can run both at the same time. It is also really good. Another character you can consider is Mona. I always say that Mona is a budget version for Furina. She does have amazing Hydro application, and in fact her burst does a lot of damage as well, so you can look to run her if you have her. And finally, you can also consider Kokomi in the freeze team. The reason why I don't rate Kokomi as high is, like I said, freeze teams, generally speaking, you won't be taking as much damage because the enemies are frozen. But if you still are a little bit hesitant on that and you are going to be fighting some bosses which cannot be frozen, generally speaking, Kokomi is a very safe option. Now you may ask, should you run a Cryo sub DPS in a Cryo main DPS team? And the answer is, if if you really need the extra particles, you can generally go for that. And there are some characters which are very strong in buffing your Cryo main DPS. The first one is going to be the OG Cryo premium unit, which is Shunhe. Shunhe just gives your Cryo main DPS a lot of damage, and in my opinion, if you are planning to play a Cryo main DPS team, you should look to put Shunhe in your team. The new character as well, Escoffier, will give a lot of amplification for your freeze teams, but in general, you want to be only playing Hydro and Cryo in that team, which should not be a problem, so you can also look to play Escoffier. Now, if you're asking which one is better, Shunhe or Escoffier, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. Both are very strong, but generally speaking, just run the one that you feel more comfortable playing with. You can also technically run Sitlali, but I don't think Sitlali is as good in a Cryo freeze team than a Hydro freeze team because she does shred Hydro resistance and not Cryo resistance. So technically, Sitlali will be mostly played in the Hydro freeze teams. And finally, a very OG character that you can play with in a Cryo freeze team is going to be Diona. Diona is probably the best 4-star in the Cryo freeze team. She has amazing shielding, she can battery very well for your Cryo main DPS, and her ultimate gives amazing healing as well, albeit you don't really need it, but if you run her with no Bleeds Oblige, she will be a fantastic Cryo battery for your Cryo DPS. Now, enough talking about Cryo main DPS, let's talk about how you can be building your Hydro main DPS teams instead. For Hydro main DPS teams, there are a few Hydro characters which are very good. Now, the first character I want to talk about is going to be Ayato. Ayato is by far hands down my favorite Hydro character play for a freeze team. His rotations are very simple, and the characters can be playing with are very easy to play with, and this is why Ayato will be the creme of the top. Another Cryo DPS you can consider playing with is Neuvillette. Neuvillette also can be played in a freeze team, although I would recommend you play him in stronger teams like Hyperbloom, but you can also technically play him in freeze team if you wish to play him that role. Another character you can play is going to be Tartaglia. Tartaglia also a fantastic character to play in freeze teams. However, same thing as Neuvillette, most of the time you'll be playing him in stronger teams. And lastly, you can also be playing Kokomi in a freeze team. In fact, her application is very insane, but for most Kokomi teams, you're going to be relying on your Cryo sub DPS in fact to do most of the damage and most of the heavy lifting in the Kokomi freeze teams. For Cryo sub DPS, when you are playing them in freeze teams, there are actually quite a lot. The standard 2 characters you can look to play is going to be Kaya and Rosaria. These 2 4-star characters are really good for freeze teams. Their application is very good, and on top of that, they are able to battery themselves, which makes them have a very strong ultimate uptime. Now, for more premium units, you also obviously want to run Escoffier in the Hydro freeze team. She's just a very strong character. You can also look to run Sitlali. In my opinion, Sitlali is the best character that you should be looking for. Like I said, she has Hydro Shred, which means you're going to be shredding the resistance for your Hydro main DPS, which is fantastic. Overall, freeze teams, very flexible. The characters you can play are super flexible. Just remember, the general game plan for freeze is you want to make sure you have a very good uptime on your Hydro and Cryo so that they'll always be frozen. So with that comes to the end of this video. I hope you are able to learn something from this video. If you like this kind of videos, please do leave a like. It shows me I should do more. Comment down below if you have any questions regarding freeze teams, how to build them, or whether you are comparing certain characters. And finally, do subscribe. We will be doing more videos like this in the future. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Peace.